Can you love a liberal? Or more importantly, should you love a liberal? I'm going to bring up an idea that's really hard for most people to do, including myself. Whether you're a conservative-hating liberal or a liberal-hating conservative or someone who just hates everybody, will hating each other actually make a better world for any of us? Or will it just make things worse for all of us? Here's what I believe and what I think a lot of people believe too. The vast majority of people in the world are good people. They want the best for themselves, their families, their friends, and mankind in general. The bad guys are few in number, but in many areas they control the scene. Unfortunately, we've gotten lazy and let many of them take over our governments and institutions. But still, we outnumber them by many millions. So most liberals and most conservatives are good people. Only the extremes are evil. You know, the ones who claim to be tolerant but aren't very tolerant of any idea that doesn't fit in with their lifestyle. The ones who are all for free speech, except speech that's against what they believe in, which is exactly what free speech is there to protect.
You wouldn't know oppression if it hit you in the face! You don't understand oppression!
Someone just poured hot coffee on me.
I dare you to touch me again.
Think you should keep it?
It's a baby. If someone was raped and she gave birth and she decided to kill her 3-year-old child.
So we need to understand who the enemy really is. Anyone that would take away the rights of good people is the enemy. They are the truly insane and evil of the world. They're in governments, schools, social media. Every place there are groups of people who just want to live happy, peaceful lives. You'll find these tyrants trying their best to bring people down. If we're going to stand a chance in stopping these madmen, we'll need to join together with other good people. And there are a lot of us. Yes, there are many issues we could argue about, but when we divide ourselves into two camps, we lose. The bad guys want to keep us fighting each other. Then, while we're distracted, they can walk in and take over. Most differences can be worked out with enough calm communication. When rational, good people put their emotions aside, only then can the truth emerge. Ah, but truth. What is it, and where do you find it? There's subjective truth and objective truth. Subjective truth is your own personal truth. Something inside your own universe. No one can argue with it. It's yours. And as long as you're the only one in that universe, you are the absolute truth.
Man, it's hot in here.
Actually, it's quite cold in here.
Go fuck yourself.
Objective truth is what people agree on or what can be observed by all. If there was a thermometer in that car, we could instantly see which truth was which. Another example, I think there's a UFO in my bathtub. Might be true for me. 10 other people come into my bathroom and don't see any UFO. Conclusion, I'm freaking nuts. Until the advent of the internet, the mass media was the sole source of what objective truth was. The internet opened up many channels of communication that made it possible for the first time in history for the masses to get lots of different viewpoints and information. Yes, a lot of it was false, a lot of it was spun, just like with the mainstream media boys. But also a lot more truth got out there than ever before. So now it's much easier to find the truth, and it's also easier to be fooled. That's still better than the mass media having a monopoly on the information you can have. It just takes a bit of homework. You can trace the exact instance where you stop learning. That's the moment you stop communication. The news media practices what I call legal lying. That's when you use true data to prove a lie. You can do that by selectively leaving out any true data that opposes what you want people to believe, and only use true data that you handpick to prove your point. It's lying, but it's legal. After all, they did tell the truth. When you take young kids' minds and fill them with drugs and indoctrinate them with over a decade of teaching by teachers who hate America and free enterprise, you get generations who can easily be swayed by their emotions. They have no ability to think logically or to see outcomes. They'll vote for their own demise all the time, thinking they're doing something good for humanity. But these aren't bad people. They've just been formed at an early age by teachers and media with a very biased outlook. We're not going to change anyone's mind by calling them names or shutting them up. That only makes them try harder to prove they're right. The only way we're going to get through to anyone is through communication. Communication without hostility. Communication that respects their right to their opinion. When you communicate without anger, you then have the door open to a real discussion about truth. And if we want to keep our freedom, that's what it's going to take. I've used this method many times, and it works. Instead of a heated nobody wins argument, you have somebody who's actually willing to listen to your point of view. It works like magic. Believe me, I know how tempting it is to say,
"Jane, you ignorant slut."
But all that does is keep things going the way they were, not a real solution. However, there are some people, a minority, that you'll just never be able to convince of anything. These are the untouchables. They have to shut out all other opinions. They're too afraid they might be wrong, so they have to use violence and bullying to keep you from speaking. These are the fascists who call themselves anti-fascists. These are the puppets of the globalists. The elite depend on these volatile, brainwashed people to spread chaos for them. We'll never be able to sit down with most of these. Don't waste your time arguing with them. They won't hear a word you say, and they'll mostly burn out all by themselves. And the ones that insist on taking away our freedom, those will need to be stopped. You can't allow a cancer to spread. But even some of these, a very few, can be brought around. It just takes a superhuman effort with the patience of a saint. Not a job for everyone. Pretty words can fool you. Know them by the results of their actions, not their words. One last thing. Nobody should be obligated to love anybody. That wouldn't be love anyway. But there are lovable conservatives, and there are lovable liberals and lovable anarchists. And we need love when we want to get our point listened to. Sorry, John Lennon. Love is not all you need. I like the song anyway. And now for some dumb shit.
Ms. Hutchinson, I also want to thank you about bringing up the poverty draft and this idea of a bootstrap. You know, this idea and this metaphor of a bootstrap started off as a joke because it's a physical impossibility to lift yourself up by a bootstrap, by your shoelaces. It's physically impossible. The whole thing is a joke.
Join the Revolution. I'm Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I pledge allegiance to the drag.
It's a beautiful thing. Like this shirt, you know you want it. I wore it to lunch today, made quite a few friends. Anyway, I create a lot of merch, which goes to help me keep this show going. You can buy some of this wonderful stuff that I created myself, or you can become a patron for as little as $1, more or less $1 a month, and help me out if you like what I'm doing. or you can go to Spotify and follow me. I have about 12 albums of my own music there. And I tell you, but the best way to help always is to just share this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but sharing is the most important thing, especially in these days of censorship. So thank you for watching. Hope you come back for the next episode. Love you guys. Bye-bye.